There's about 9 pence of corn in an £8 bucket of cinema popcorn. 9 pence. Everything else, the tub, the salt, the sad little wooden scoop, the bloke who hands it to you, everything else is the markup. It's one of the highest profit margins of any product sold anywhere on the high street. Higher than perfume, higher than a pint. And everyone thinks they know why. Cinemas are greedy. It's a captive audience, innit? No. The real reason is so much stranger than that. Because when you buy that ticket, the 12 quid to sit in the dark, most of that money isn't the cinemas. They barely see it. The cinema is not in the film business. The cinema is a snack shop that happens to have a very expensive room attached. And by the end of this, you're going to understand why the film, the actual film, the thing you came for, is the bait. Welcome to the secret economics of everyday things. So let's start with your assumption, because it's a good one. It's just wrong. You walk in, you pay for a ticket. In your head, that money goes to the cinema. They've got the building, the seats, the projector, the sticky floor. Obviously, it's their money. It isn't. When a cinema shows a film, they don't own it. They're renting it. And the studio that made the film sets the terms. On a massive opening weekend, the studio can take around 60% of every ticket sold, sometimes more. 60% of the thing you thought you were buying from the cinema, gone, back to Hollywood. Before the cinema has paid a single member of staff, or turned the lights on, or hoovered a millimeter of carpet. So have a think. If the ticket money mostly leaves the building, what exactly are they running that room for? They're running it to get you to walk past the counter. That's the business. The screen is the mousetrap, the popcorn is the cheese, and that 8 quid bucket isn't the cinema being greedy at the end of your night out. It's the cinema's entire income for the evening. Right, let's do the maths, because it's genuinely absurd. Popping corn is one of the cheapest foods on the planet. A kernel costs a fraction of a penny. Add the oil, the salt, the tub, you're still in pennies. And it's sold for £8. That's a gross margin of somewhere around 85 to 90%. To put that in human terms, sell 1 bucket and you've paid for the ingredients of about 30 more. Concessions, the popcorn, the drinks, the pick and mix, are roughly a third of a cinema's revenue. But they're the majority of its profit. The film brings you in. The corn keeps the lights on. But here's the crazy part. Cinemas didn't want popcorn. They banned it. Genuinely. In the early days, cinemas thought they were posh. Chandeliers, carpets, ushers in little hats. Popcorn was fairground food. It was noisy, it was messy, it stank the place out, and it dragged the tone down to a circus tent. So they said no. Absolutely not. Not in my picture house. So what happened? Street vendors just set up outside, right by the doors, and the audience bought a bag on the way in and smuggled it in under their coat. Cinemas spent years fighting the popcorn. The popcorn won. And when the Great Depression hit and nobody could afford a ticket, it turned out the cheap snack they'd been trying to keep out of the building was the thing that kept the building open. So the next time an usher gives you a look for bringing in your own snacks, just know their entire industry was built by people doing exactly that. Okay, so the cinema needs you to buy the corn. How do you make a person buy corn they didn't come for? 1. The smell. You do not smell popcorn in the car park by accident. That aroma is a product. It's engineered, it's pumped into the foyer, and it is aimed directly at you. You are being marketed to, through your nose, before you've read a single poster. 2. The salt. Cinema popcorn is salted generously, very generously, and salt makes you thirsty. And what's the highest margin item in the entire building? The fizzy drink, which is basically sugar, water, and a cup. So they sell you the thing that creates the problem, and then they sell you the solution. That's not a snack. That's a business model with a two-part structure. 3. And this one is my favorite. Look at the sizes on the board next time. Small, £5. Medium, £7.50. Large, £8. 50 pence for a massive upgrade. What an idiot you'd be to take the medium. Yeah, that's the point. The medium isn't there to be sold. The medium is a decoy. It exists purely to make the large look like the deal of the century. Nobody buys the medium. Nobody is supposed to buy the medium. It's a piece of set dressing, and its only job is to walk you into the biggest tub in the shop and make you feel clever about it. And you know what? It works on me every single time. I know it's a decoy. I know exactly what it's doing. I still take the large. Be honest in the comments. Have you ever bought the medium? Because I genuinely don't believe the medium has ever been purchased by a human being. Now, this is the bit where you expect me to say, cinemas are ripping you off. And I'm not going to. Because here's what actually happened. Cinemas are financially in a horrible position. Most of the ticket goes to the studio. The rent on a giant building in a city centre is brutal. The room sits empty most of Tuesday. A cinema is one of the least efficient uses of expensive floor space ever invented. So they had a choice. 2 options. 1. Charge what a seat actually costs. Put the ticket up to 25, 30 quid. Cover it honestly. 2. Keep the ticket cheap enough that a family can still walk in on a wet Sunday and make the money back from the people who fancy a snack. They chose 2. And economists have actually studied this. It's got a name. It's a way of charging the enthusiastic customers more without pricing the casual ones out entirely. The bloke who comes for the film and nothing else pays 12 quid. The one who wants the full night out pays 25. Same seat, same film. The popcorn is doing the sorting, which means the thing you've been annoyed about your whole life is actually the reason the ticket is affordable at all. Every person who buys the big tub is quietly subsidizing the seat of the person who doesn't. If everybody walked past that counter, the counter you've been sneering at, the cinema wouldn't drop its prices. It would shut. If that just rearranged something in your head, do me a favor, hit like. It genuinely helps this reach people who've spent their whole lives being quietly furious about popcorn. And subscribe. Every week I pull apart something you use all the time and show you the machine underneath it. Right, one last thing, and it's the bit that'll stay with you. So here's where it leaves us. You are not being robbed at the popcorn counter. You're paying a voluntary tax on a thing that costs almost nothing to make, in exchange for a seat that costs a fortune to provide. And the genius of it, the truly beautiful, infuriating genius of it, is that they never have to force you. They just have to make the room smell right. Put a decoy in the middle of the menu and wait. 9 pence of corn, £8, and a smile on your face as you hand the money over. And that's the pattern, isn't it? It's the same one every time on this channel. The thing you're annoyed about is almost never the thing that's actually happening. The price on the board is never the whole story. Somebody worked all this out decades ago and built the room around it. And the room is very, very good at its job. So go to the cinema, have a great time. Get the large you were always going to. Just know that the moment you walked through those doors and caught that smell in the air, the film wasn't the show. You were. Right, settle this for me in the comments. Now that you know, is the popcorn a rip-off, or is it the fairest deal in the building? And more importantly, are you a smuggler? Do you take your own snacks in? Because I need to know how many of you are the reason they hired security. See you in the next one.